Is everybody in? Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin.
Good evening. Welcome to the first ever Dig Fact Quiz of the year. I think I've got carried away with the questions, just to warn you in advance. I've got 85 of them in total, which if they take a minute a question, I'm going to take an hour and a half out of your life. I apologise in advance. If you do get bored at any point, just bail out or tell me to shut up and we'll call it a night, I promise. In the interest of time, I'm only going to keep the questions open until someone has come up with the right answer, or if you clearly don't have any idea of the answer. Now, obviously, it is almost Christmas, so to get us all in the mood, I've compiled a festive playlist to play in the background throughout the show. So let me get that underway first of all. Let's turn it down just a touch. There we are. I'm going to say a very quick good evening too. First of all, Gary Muirhead, who says, good evening, guys. Good evening, Mark. Pen and paper at the ready. You will need both. You definitely need both. Jim Turner, the birthday boy himself, is here as well. Evening, Jim. Mark Whiting is here as well. And Dan Cullen is here as well. There's plenty of other people out there who haven't actually said hello yet. If you are here, even if you don't plan to take part, just type your name in the chat. I'd be pleased to see you here. So, should we start? I think perhaps we should. So, here is our first question. There you are. What is the name of the massive demolition excavator recently purchased by the fine folks at Italian demolition giant Despe? And while you're thinking about that, good evening to Chris Ford. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, Chris. Do you know the name of the massive demolition excavator recently purchased by Italian demolition giant Despe? It was the one that me and Fred went to see. Gary Muirhead, quick as a flash. Correct answer, Jumbo. Yeah, it absolutely is the Jumbo, based on that Caterpillar base machine. We've got more on the Jumbo a bit later on. Now, we're not actually keeping score, but here's an opportunity for a bonus point straight away. You might remember that the Jumbo actually has the flag of an Italian football team on its rear end. Can you name that Italian football team? Be interested to see if you can. Dan Cullen's come up with the right answer as well. But yes, what is the name of the football team, of the flag of the football team on the back end, on the counterweight of that machine? Can you remember what that was? When I went to see it over in Bergamo, the machine was actually taking down the stadium of this football team. They play in blue and black, if that's a clue. If you can't remember, not a problem. Matzo? No, it's not. Any more offers? Tell you what, let's. I even forgot to change the thing there. No, I'm going to come back to that. No, it's not Lazio. I'll tell you that one. As I say, it was a bonus point. That one, I will tell you, it was Atalanta. Yeah, Atalanta. So next question up. We mentioned the initials CMA a lot in the past year. But what does CMA actually stand for? Any offers? You can use puns if you wish, but what is the CMA? You remember the investigation into bid rigging and price fixing in the demolition industry? It was done by the CMA. What is the full name of the CMA? I'm just enjoying the music in the background. One of the songs that's on this festive playlist apparently is called All the Jingle Ladies. Obviously a tribute to Beyonce. Any thoughts on the CMA? Can you remember what the CMA stands for? Not seeing any answers coming through. I'll give it another, let's say another 10 seconds, and then I will roll on and tell you exactly what the answer is. Gary Muirhead. There you go. There is the answer. Actually, I think off the top of my head, it's actually the Companies and Markets Authority. But we'll take that. We'll take that all day long. Not a problem at all. So here's an easy one for you. That was quite a tricky one. I've got an easier one for you now. And it is this. What is the name of the JCB machine designed to repair the nation's roads? It's been on the show a good 3 or 4 times. The roads minister at the time, Grant Shapps, went to see it in action. Stoke County Council have got them out in action as well. I think Peter Haddock has driven one. There we go. Dan Cullen, well done, mate. Pothole Pro, it most certainly is the Pothole Pro, well remembered. Now we're going to, and there's Gary Muirhead coming up with the same answer, and Jim Turner coming up with the right answer. Paul Deegan, it's based on the it's based on the Hydra Pig. The Hydra Pig, well done. But it is the Pothole Pro. Now, throughout the show, we are going to ask questions, not just about the industry and about the show, but also about you, our audience. So, first of those, which of our regular viewers goes by the nickname Sick Note, which I gave to him some time ago? If you'd like a clue, he's living up to his nickname right now because he's currently in hospital, or he was the last I heard. Who of our regular viewers has the nickname Sick Note? Gary Muirhead, right again. Peter McKenna. Yes, and Peter, if you're you guys, they're coming through at exactly the same time. Gary was first off the mark, so yes, Peter McKenna. Peter, if you're watching tonight, get well soon, my friend. Look forward to getting you back on the show. Now, I've got a sneaky suspicion that Gary Muirhead might get this one as well. What is the model number of the Kobelco High Reach excavator purchased by Liberty Industrial for deployment in Gove, Australia? We featured it on the Breakfast Show exclusively. It's a Kobelco High Reach. It was also at Bauma, Resplendent. It was one of the biggest machines there. Well, I'm going to let that one slide. It is, Gary. You've got the numbers right. It is the SK1300. The SK1300. 1350. Dan, you're 50 too many, but you're close but no cigar. Now, I said we were going to ask questions related to the audience. Cast your mind back. There you are. There is absolutely the correct answer. SK1300. Well done indeed. So, questions about and around the audience itself. Which member of the Breakfast Show audience recommended that we all try spicy banana pizza? Even though I'm saying it, it still seems unreal, but one of our number recommended spicy banana pizza, which he had. Apparently, I think he was actually working offshore at the time. He was working offshore and he'd had spicy banana pizza, and he reckons it was well worth a try. Have to admit, I've not taken his advice, mainly because I can't find it. Dan Cullen has gone with Ken Hatcher. It wasn't Ken Hatcher, although we do know he does absolutely love his pizza. Gary Muirhead, on the money again. Steve, Superstar Williamson. Yes, it was Steve who came up with the idea of not the idea, but he had tried the spicy banana pizza, and there's Mike Whiting also with the right answer as well. Anybody ever had spicy banana pizza? I'd love to hear from you if you have. Did you manage to keep it down? I'd be very impressed if you did that too. So, another question for you. This one should be dead easy for everybody. What is the name of our new female news anchor, the AI news anchor? She was on the show this morning. She's going to be on the show again in just a few moments, actually. What is the name of our AI news anchor on the Breakfast Show? Dan Cullen, well done, my friend. Demolition. Demolition is absolutely right. Well done indeed. Paul Deegan, I don't believe he's taking this entirely seriously. He has suggested Dave. I think she'd be most upset if we called it Dave, to be perfectly honest. Right, who's up next? Right, okay. What is the name of the outgoing CEO of the National Federation of Demolition Contractors? He's been in the role for about 20 years. Probably one of the most famous names in the whole of the demolition industry here in the UK, also well known and widely respected and revered overseas. What is the name of the outgoing NFDC CEO who is literally days away from hanging up his hard hat and going to put his feet up after, as I say, 20 years of service? Can you remember the name of the NFDC CEO. It's quite nice just being able to be quiet, have music playing in the background. Any clues? No, it's not Dan Cullen. I'll give you a clue. His surname is something you press, and his first name is the name of a cartoon duck, and it's not Donald or Daffy. No offers. Howard Button. How did you not know Howard Button after all these years of service? Right, okay, let's give you something a little bit easier, shall we? Here we are. We have all heard of the Lola regs. But what does Lola actually stand for? And just to let you know, this is a question that actually came from our friend Gary Muirhead. What does Lola stand for? We all have to, well, I say we, you all have to abide by them. I do not, because I don't do much in the way of lifting and shifting, but you do. Lola regs. What does Lola actually stand for? I would imagine you've all seen it written down somewhere, probably during a toolbox talk or a health and safety briefing or something like that. What does Lola stand for? L-O-L-E-R, Lola. I've just seen that Dan Cullen's answer to the previous question, the name of the outgoing NFDC CEO, was Benjamin Button. No, it isn't Benjamin Button. And there you are, Dan Cullen, lifting operations and lifting equipment regulations. Yeah, L-O-L-E-R. Well done indeed. Let's have another one, shall we? Let's get that off the screen. Let me try and get that off the screen. Yeah, we've regularly featured, actually, a German company with a distinctive green livery. They make materials handlers, they make telescopic handlers, and they also make demolition excavators. One of the things that they all have in common is they all are offered with an elevating cab. I need no more clues, because Jim Turner is in like a flash. Cenobogin, absolutely spot on. Well done, Jim. Next question. Is that the next question? There you are. Which equipment manufacturer? Very famous. Which equipment manufacturer makes the PC 3000 mining excavator? You may have seen it. I need to give no further clues. Komatsu, absolutely on the money. Both Dan and Gary, almost at the same time. It is indeed Komatsu. Mark Whiting also says Komatsu. I think this really is a competition of fastest fingers first. So, Gary, you're excused the next question, because I reckon you know the answer. Gary Muirhead went on holiday in November, so just a few weeks ago. Where did he go? Where did Gary Muirhead go on holiday in November? In actual fact, if I remember rightly, it's a return visit. He was there during the... I don't need to tell you anymore. There's Jim Turner saying Tenerife. Absolutely, it was Tenerife. Dan Cullen, close but no cigar. It was over there. Yes, indeed, Tenerife. What have we got next? But where did he... He's actually answered this. Where did Gary Muirhead say he would spend his dream holiday? If you look at his name on Facebook or on YouTube, you will see he actually is quite a fan of where he would like to be for his dream holiday. I think Jim Turner is on a bit of a wind-up. Since the Kinshofer factory, not at all. Dan Cullen, absolutely on the money. Yes, he wanted to go to the Steel Wrist factory. Indeed he did. Next question. We have had just one hero of the week during 2023. Just a couple of weeks ago, in fact. Can you remember either his name or what he did to become a hero? It was just a few weeks ago. We featured him on our show, but he was on the national news as well. Can you remember either his name or what he did to become a hero? You might remember that lots of people have called for him to be given some sort of special award or honour. There you are. Jim Turner, the crane driver. Yes, Glenn Edwards, who rescued the guy from the burning building. Dan Cullen says, crane operator. Yeah, Jim Turner, yes, he has been my hero. No, in actual fact, I can see what he's doing there. Jim Turner suggested that Gary wanted to go to the Kinshofer factory. Gary is pulling a bit of a sick face, but he also says, quite right. The crane operator and Paul Deegan has said, fire rescue. Yes, it was indeed Glenn Edwards rescuing one of his colleagues from a burning building. Now, do we? I think we have. We've already mentioned the Jumbo. Jumbo is owned by Despe, which we all know, and it's built upon a Caterpillar base. But can you remember the name of the Italian company that took that Caterpillar machine and turned it into the Jumbo? They did to that machine what Kikuik do to machines here. What is the name of that Italian modifier? I recently described the managing director as Willy Wonka of construction equipment, which pleased him no end. It genuinely did. He was actually quite pleased about it. But what is the name of that company? Who converted that Caterpillar mining excavator into the Jumbo? I don't even know how to give you a clue on this one, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, it's an Italian name, if that helps at all. But I can't mime it or anything like that. There is the name of the man. It is Marco. It is Marco Laurini. Laurini. Marco Laurini. It was indeed. Now, just by way of a change, before we move on, we've got the first of a number of questions brought to you by none other than our resident AI news anchor herself, Ms. Demolition. So, first up for this evening, Demi, what have you got for us?
Mark went to the Samotor show in Italy, but what is the name of the city that hosted the show?
Yes, I went to the Samotor show in Italy. What was the name of the city that hosted the Samotor show? It's not much of a clue, but I can tell you I absolutely loved it there. Would go back in a heartbeat. It's got a big square. Lots of Italian cities have big squares. Not much else I can tell you. Think Romeo and Juliet, if that helps too. Just a couple of 100 yards away from it. Dan Cullen suggested Rome. It wasn't Rome. Just a couple of 100 yards away from where we were staying was actually the supposed balcony of Juliet, and there's a statue of Juliet. And if you remember rightly, I didn't do this because I'm English and I'm more dignified than that. But apparently, one of the things that you do while you're in this city is you go visit this statue of Juliet, and you cup her breast. Yes, cup it, you do. For good luck. Doesn't look like anyone's going to get that one, does it? I'll tell you now. It was Verona. Yes, Our Lady of Verona. So, it's back to my questions now. The CMA, we've already discussed, Competition and Markets Authority, handed down fines of almost £60 million to a number of NFDC member companies. But how many companies were actually fined? How many companies were fined? Jim Turner has guessed at 5. A few more than that. Dan Cullen has guessed at 16. Gary Muirhead has guessed at 12. It's somewhere between all of those. It was actually 10. It's 10. let's stick with all things NFDC related, shall we? In March this year, the NFDC elected a new president. What is his name? Can you remember? Just while you're doing that, Mark Whiting also guessed 11 for our last question. It was actually 10. But yes, can you remember the name of the new NFDC president? He was interviewed exclusively by me on this show. He's been doing the rounds up and down the country with his health and safety executive linked seminars and stuff. Can you remember the name of the incumbent NFDC president? George Osborne. No, it isn't. See, this is where I start to wonder about these things. No, it's not Mr. Button. Mr. Button is the outgoing CEO. We've got a new president. I'll tell you now, it's a guy called John Lynch. John Lynch of New Line Midlands. Yeah. Now, listen, I'm not casting aspersions because I happen to be a fan of John Lynch. But how do people not know that? He's been in the current position since March, so September, October, November, December. 10 months. He only gets 24 months in post, and after 10 months, you don't know his name. It's an interesting one. Now, back to people that watch the show and members of our audience. Tristan Mays, you know, the bloke that turns up and refers to you all as legends. He often calls into the show, usually to talk about cranes. He is a crane operator, among other things. What is the name of his crane website? And just while you're working that out, Gary Head says, John Who? Yes. And he also gets the right answer. Yes, it is. Crane Hub. Cranehub.net. That is Tristan May's website. Now, there are a few tricky questions. I like the name of the incumbent NFDC president, but there's also some really easy ones. This really is going to be a fastest finger first. You ready? Yeah. What does Ken Hatcher usually have for dinner on a Friday night? And there's a bonus question for what he puts on it. Gary Muirhead, he's on the money with pizza. Yes, he normally has a pizza. Dan Cullen's gone one stage further. He's actually given us a picture of a pizza. Dan Cullen saying pizza as well. And Gary Muirhead with the bonus answer as well. Yes, pizza with mayonnaise. He's Welsh. That's all I can tell you. He is Welsh. Maybe they do things differently down there. Now, another question for you. So this is for regular viewers of the Breakfast Show, but also those that are into Formula One. We recently featured a video showing the construction of a new Formula One track in a very, very famous US city. It's already hosted its first, or its latest, should I say, Formula One Grand Prix. What is the name of that city? We recently featured a video showing the construction of a new Formula One track in a US city. But what is the name of that city? On the money, Jim Turner. Quick as a flash, Dan Cullen. Exactly the same answer. And Vegas, yeah, Gary Muirhead. No, I told you these are going to be easy on occasions. Now, you've not done very well. I have to say, you've done very well on the plant. You've done very well on the audience members. Not done so well on things related to demolition. So I'm not particularly hopeful for this one, but I'm going to do it anyway. Believe it or not, that's supposed to be me in that picture. Weird, right? A Belfast-based demolition company collapsed in November, just a few weeks ago. What was the name of that company? And I'm just going to say good evening to Steve Williamson. You haven't missed it. You've missed a question, or you've missed a question about you. There's another one. There's two, actually. But you haven't missed it. We're only, I don't even know how many questions we're in. And I didn't think anyone was going to get this. Dan Cullen has. McCormack Demolition. Yes, it was indeed. Steve, just to let you know, we are 21 questions into 85, I think. So you've got plenty of time to show up and show us that you have been paying attention after all. In actual fact, you're counted out of this next question because it is this. A regular viewer of the Breakfast Show got married this year, but who was it? Who was it that tied the knot? Who made an honest woman of his other half? Or more to the question, who made an honest man out of Steve Williamson? I've just given the game away, haven't I? You can see why I don't do questions very often. Yes, it was Steve Williamson was the person that got married this year. Let's do a more difficult one, shall we? And there's Gary Muirhead. Actually got the right answer anyway, with or without my help. Dan Cullen did as well. Yeah. So, next question. Which equipment manufacturer recently unveiled a Platinum Edition machine to celebrate the 70th anniversary of its most famous machine? It was on the Breakfast Show. It's been on YouTube. It's all over social media. Which equipment manufacturer unveiled a Platinum Edition machine? Mark Whiting, Gary Muirhead, lots of people, Dan Cullen, Jim Turner, all said JCB. JCB X Series. It wasn't the X Series, it was actually Baco Loaders. It was the Baco Loader, but yes, it was most definitely JCB. Next question. Which company manufactures the T650 compact track loader? We featured it just a day or two ago on the Breakfast Show. Dan Cullen, quick as a flash. Bobcat, you're absolutely right. Oh, excuse me, I've got chronic heartburn tonight. Gary Muirhead with the right answer as well. Paul Deegan, no, not Takuchi. Have you seen the special edition X Series? Seen it on social media today. I've actually got it lined up for tomorrow's show, funnily enough. It's one for JC Balls, if I remember rightly. But you're absolutely right. Our friend Graham Footy Williams has just joined us, and he got the right answer. Bobcat. It was indeed Bobcat. I'm fairly sure. Let me just have a quick look. Yes, let's do that one first. In which European country does our regular contributor, Al Grierson, reside? Where does he live? And Chris Ford has just said, no longer driving, might be able to answer a question or two. Well, good luck with that, Chris. Jim Turner has beaten you to the punch on that one. It is indeed Luxembourg. Right, I think it's about time. He actually went for Luxembourg. Chris Ford said Belgium. No, it's Luxembourg. Mark Whiting got it. Dan Cullen got it as well. It is Demi time again. Let's get her back on the show. Let's see what she's got to say for herself this time.
Mark went to the World Rallycross Championships again this year as a guest of Volvo. But which country did he go to?
Yeah, I've actually been to the same country twice with Volvo, both times part of the World Rallycross Championships. Wow, there you are. Lots and lots of people. Germany. No, not Sweden. Germany. Yes, Germany. It was the Nürburgring last time round and somewhere else this time. I can't actually remember the name of the place I went to this time. Let's take that one off the screen. And Nürburgring was last year, but yes, it was most definitely Germany. So, next question. When we show off an electric machine, we sometimes feature a clip of an actor, a very famous actor, saying, "It's electrifying." Name that actor. Who is it that said, I can't believe that photograph of me. I've never worn a headband. I'm not going to finish that sentence because I know I'm lying. Yes, which famous American actor? There you are. Footy, quick as a flash. John Travolta, Jim Turner, John Travolta, Dan Cullen, John Travolta. It is John Travolta from Greece. It's electrifying. It most certainly is. What have we got next? Footy, you're out of this one. Our friend Graham Williams is known as Footy because of the size of his feet. But what size shoes, or more specifically work boots, does he require? Gary Muirhead going for 15. Think slightly bigger. Dan Cullen and Jim Turner got it right. Mark Whiting slightly over the top. Chris Ford, 15. No, he's a 17. A 17. And you know what they say about men with big feet? Yes, they have very big socks too. Oh, another question for you. Name the demolition company that went under just last month with debts of more than £23 million. Should be fresh in your memory, this one. Mark writing. Bingo. There you are. It was indeed Scrib Group. 23 million quid. Chris Ford got the right answer as well. Well done, chaps. What do we have next? Yes, which trade association relocated to a new headquarters just this past year? Earlier this year. I went to the grand opening. They're still in the same town, but they're in a different head office. Dan Cullen. Well done, sir. NFDC, it was indeed. And Gary Muirhead. All in caps, NFDC. You're absolutely right. It most certainly was the NFDC. And I think they've now renamed the place Resurgam House. I think that was... yes. It used to be Resurgam House. I think it's Resurgam House again. Let's get that off the screen. And... yeah. Bit of a tricky one, this one, unless you've been paying proper attention. Which equipment manufacturer has a demonstration facility over in the States called the Tomahawk Customer Center? Dan Cullen has guessed at Volvo. It's not. Gary Muirhead has guessed at Bobcat. It's not. John Deere is Jim Turner's offer, and it's none of those. I'll tell you now, it's not Caterpillar either. Chris Ford is guessing at Bobcat as well. No, not Bobcat, not Volvo, not John Deere. Gary Muirhead. There you go. It is actually Case. Yeah. Quite like to go there. Case, if you're paying attention this evening, I'd love to go. Who is our resident quizmaster? I am quite proud of the fact that I put together most, if not all of the show, most days, the Breakfast Show, but there is one person who regularly contributes the question of the day, and there you are. His fame goes before him. Mark Whiting says it's Gary. Jim Turner says Gary. Dan Cullen says it's Gary Muirhead. Graham Footy Williams says Gary Muirhead. It is indeed. He is most definitely our resident quizmaster. Next question: Which company has excavators called Generation 8? Generation 8 excavators. I know we've got into a whole minefield of naming conventions for excavators recently. Don't need to fudge any longer because Mark Whiting, there you are. Most definitely. It is Liebherr. Generation 8. Here's another one for you. If you've been paying attention recently, which manufacturer makes the TRO 45 tilt rotator? I think we were the first people to feature it right here on the show. It is a Knox, but who makes the Knox? That's the question. They've already been mentioned in dispatches. It was the wrong answer given to a question. Can't remember the name of that, says Footy. And then Dan Cullen comes to everybody's rescue. It is indeed Kinsoffer. Steve Williamson, who, if he got that wrong, could never, ever show his face outside of Scotland ever again. He's absolutely on the money. If anybody should know the answer to that, it's probably Steve or his sidekick, Ed. Mark Whiting has also got the right answer as well. What have we got up next? Yeah, one of the Breakfast Show audience has expressed his desire to emigrate to New Zealand on more than one occasion. Name that audience member. He may or may not be celebrating today. Who Who among our audience, our studio audience, not studio audience, who among our live audience has expressed his desire to up sticks and go and live in New Zealand? Just to prove that Gary Muirhead has been paying attention, he says Jim Turner. Dan Cullen, also on the money with Jim Turner as well. And yes, it is birthday boy, Jim Turner. What do we have next? Chris Ford, lots of people. The problem with this, which is why we couldn't do an actual competition tonight, I'm fairly sure you're all getting the right answer at exactly the right time, but they just come through in bits and pieces. But you're absolutely right, it is indeed Jim Turner. Now, this one is a bit of a test to see if you've been paying attention. I've written 2 children's books, both of them industry related. But can you name either of them? Either of them. Now, I know some of you have actually got copies of these. I know I featured them on the show just a few weeks ago because we were giving away some spare ones to try and brighten up a few people's Christmases. Yes, I've written 2 children's books. Can you remember the name of either of them? Well, I tell you what, the actual answer is My Dad Does Demolition. That is absolutely the answer. Chris Ford says Dad Does Demolition. Very close. My Dad's a digger driver. Yeah, it was My Dad Does Demolition, and the other one is My Dad Drives a Digger. Yeah. Still available. All good bookshops and some of the rubbish ones as well. Tell you what, while I have a slurp of drink, I think we should get Demi back on the show. Let's go with this one.
Mark went to Ireland a few months back to see a forklift manufacturer. Can you remember the name of that manufacturer?
Yes, I did indeed go to Ireland just a few months ago to see a lift truck manufacturer. Can anyone remember the name of that lift truck manufacturer? I described them at the time as the JCB of the lift truck world. Can you remember their name? Very famous, very Irish, very good. Can you remember the name of that company? Chris Ford, is one of the questions who gets a stiffy with Demi? No, none of them. None of the questions are that. Yep, you're absolutely right, Gary. Their Christmas video was just on the show. It was on the show, I think, on Monday. Thereabouts. Yes, we featured them very recently. Can you remember the name of that Irish lift truck manufacturer? I'll give you 5 seconds and then I'll tell you. 3, 2, 1. Combi lift. You're close, Dan. Master lift. No, it's not master lift. It's combi lift. That was the name we were looking for. Now I think we're due one of these. Yeah. Which equipment manufacturer developed the Opera cab? Now, we featured that on the show a while back, and all of us declared that this was probably the best equipment cab any of us had ever seen. And absolutely, I don't need to fudge any longer because Gary Muirhead is on the money. It was indeed Hidromek, Turkish manufacturer, the Opera cab. If you weren't here at the time, go and look it up over on YouTube. The Opera cab is a joy to behold. It wasn't Liebherr, Dan, but you were close but no cigar, as they say. Next question. Now, Dan Cullen, I expect you to get this absolutely on the money. In which month did plant works take place earlier this year? You will remember that we were all slathering ourselves with suntan lotion because it was very, very warm, obviously in the summer. Can you remember which month plant works took place? I knew he'd get it. It was indeed June. Gary Muirhead says June. Jim Turner says June. Yes, it was June indeed. Steve Williamson also said June, even though he wasn't there. Well, he was there in mannequin form, if you remember rightly. But yes, it was indeed June. And Chris Ford, no, not May, but June. Right, next up. Here's a good one. My son, the cameraman, the guy that makes things look sexy when sometimes they're not. What's his name? And while you're figuring that out, oh, actually, Gary's already got it. It is indeed. It is Fred. Jim Turner, going back to Plant Work, said, and it was too hot. It was too bloody hot. Gary Muirhead, as I say, got the right answer. Steve Williamson, who has met him, got it right. Jim Turner, who hasn't, got it right. I think Dan may have met him. Can't remember. Footy seems to be answering all of these with the word piss. I don't know why. But no, his name, we did toy with the idea of calling my youngest son Piss, but no, we called him Fred instead. Right, okay, next up. Now the clue is in the question a bit here. Despe, you remember them with the jumbo? They devised a top-down demolition system that I visited in Milan just a month or two ago. What is the name of that system? And yes, I think you could well be right. I think Footy is saying pass. That would make a whole lot more sense. Thank you for the clarification, Jim. Even on your birthday, helpful as ever. Dan Cullen says coverall. No, it's not called the coverall. As I say, the clue is actually in... You've got 2/3, Gary. You're 2/3. There's a word that goes on the end of that. It's actually called the top-down way. Top-down way. Chris Ford says, I think the first Plant Works was in May. Got a speeding ticket going half a mile down the road before, and I'd been walking. There you are, the top-down way. Yes, absolutely. Dan Cullen, Jack Down. It could well be called Jack Down because, frankly, that's exactly what it does. But no, it is the top-down way. Next up, which equipment manufacturer makes the R100 rigid dump truck? Gary Muirhead has taken a swing, but it's a swing and a miss with Terex, not Terex. Although there is a relationship there, I have to say. Steve Williamson on the money. There you are, Volvo. It absolutely is Volvo. And I took it for a spin a little while ago. Footy says, every time I turn the phone down to speak into it, you've done another question. I can't hear it, unfortunately. My apologies. Volvo. Yes, it is absolutely Volvo. I'm going to do the next one nice and slow so that Footy can get it. Steve Williamson, you're banned from this question because it kind of relates to you. If I've got the right question. Yes. Which attachment company do Ed Butler and Steve Williamson demonstrate for? They've done it at Bauma. They've done it at ConExpo. In a manner of speaking, they did it also at Plantworks as well. And they're going to be doing it again at Intermat in April next year. Which attachment company do Ed Butler and Steve Williamson demonstrate for? Reliable as ever. There you are. Mark Whiting says Kinsoffer. It is indeed Kinsoffer. There does seem to be some confusion between Kinsoffer and Steel Wrist here. But no, it is most definitely Kinsoffer. Gary Muirhead, no, not Stan Cullen on the money. Kinsoffer, it is indeed. Right. I don't really want to know about this, but Steve Williamson answering the question about him and Ed Butler. Apparently, they also demonstrate Playboy accessories. So it's a mental image that I could quite easily manage without. Thank you, Steve. Next question. Yeah, which manufacturer helped build a racetrack in Hong Kong just a few weeks ago? Helped build a racetrack. I'll give you a clue. It's for the World Rallycross Championships. The all-electric Rallycross Championships took place in Hong Kong. Who helped build the track? Gary Muirhead. bang on. It most certainly was Volvo. And there's lots and lots of answers saying Volvo. And Jim Turner, who's obviously he's had too much birthday cake or something. He's gone for XCMG. No, it was, in fact, although Hong Kong would have made sense, it was Volvo. And even Footy, there you are. Was it Volvo, JCB, or CAT? It was Volvo. Volvo got that one. Now let's have a look. And we mentioned this one just a day or two ago, so I would like to think you'll get it. Sunwood, the Chinese manufacturer, has a European headquarters. In which country is that European headquarters? Jim Turner has gone for Netherlands or Belgium, which basically is about as close as you can get. Chris Ford has said Belgium, which is right. Dan Cullen says Ireland. It's not. It's not France. It's Belgium. It's not France. It is most definitely Belgium, but it's actually on the Belgian-Netherlands border. It's at a place called Tessenderlo, right up the road from Hyundai. So yes, Belgium it is. What do we got next? Yeah, the founder of a Japanese mini excavator manufacturer has just been inducted into the Construction Equipment Industry Hall of Fame. Which company did he found? And this was last week, probably, maybe even the beginning of this week. The founder of a Japanese mini excavator manufacturer has just been inducted into the industry's Hall of Fame. Which company did he found? Jim Turner says Takeuchi. Chris Ford says Takeuchi. Mark Whiting says Takeuchi. And all three of you are absolutely correct. Next up, which manufacturer makes the 980 demolition excavator? My personal favourite, my personal pick from the last Bauma. Who makes the 980 demolition excavator? It was resplendent in red. We featured it on the stand. We've also featured it since out at work. Gary Muirhead has taken a wild stab at CAT, but no, Steve Williamson is on the right path there. It is Liebherr. Jim Turner clearly knows that my daughter is watching. Liebherr. Dan Cullen, Liebherr. Mark Whiting, Liebherr. Was that the red one at Bauma? Sexy as. It was. It was that very machine. Chris Ford says Liebherr as well. And although his text-to-speech is letting him down, or his speech-to-text rather, Footy got it right as well. Liebherr it is indeed. Now, I'll tell you what, we'll come back to that one because I think it's Demi time again. We've already had that one. So here's Demi. What you got to say for yourself this time, Demi?
Mark visited the Czech Republic earlier this year. Which manufacturer did he go to see?
Yes, I did indeed. I went to the Czech Republic to a place called Debris, just outside Prague. Which company did I go to see? Which manufacturer has a European manufacturing facility in Debris in the Czech Republic? Dan Cullen has said Mechalak, not Mechalak, not Wacker either, no. Not Bomag. Footy is passing. Dan Cullen, there you are. I knew somebody would get it. It is indeed Bobcat. Yeah, Debris in the Czech Republic is the European headquarters of the fine folks at Bobcat. We're going to be coming back to kind of that subject in the not too distant future. So that one's a bit more taxing, but we'll get to that in just a moment. But here's the next question. Which manufacturer offers intelligent machine control? And my apologies for the spelling of control. You wouldn't know I typed for a living, would you? Steve Williamson doesn't need any more prompting. He's already there. It is indeed Komatsu. Yeah, and they've been doing so for, 10 years now? I'm fairly sure they celebrated the 10th anniversary of Intelligent Machine Control just recently. Next question. Which equipment manufacturer made a truck not only made but sold a truck made entirely from fossil-free steel. Which equipment manufacturer made a truck entirely from fossil-free steel? I know what Gary means. Volvo. It is Volvo. Jim's got it right. Mark's got it right. Gary's spelled it right. Dan's got it right. Yeah, it was indeed Volvo. Next up, we're rattling through these. Actually, it might not take quite as long as I thought it would. Yes. Which attachment company unveiled a cone crusher attachment at Plant Works this year? Ed Butler was on the stand. They got a runners-up innovation award. Which attachment company unveiled the cone crusher attachment at Plant Works this year? Footy is passing. Jim Turner is 3/4 of the way there. Mark Whiting has got it absolutely correct. It was indeed Auger Talk. Fine bunch of people they are as well. There's Steve Williamson, who most certainly should get that. Joe Torrington and the team down at Auger Talk. Yes, it was them with the cone crusher attachment. I mentioned this on the show just a couple of weeks ago. There is a demolition company that gives away free donuts on a Friday. They share their name with a county. What is the name of that demolition company? Company that gives away free donuts every Friday. Jim Turner, clearly a man who likes a donut. Kent Demolition. Dan Cullen says Kent Demolition as well. Let's have a look. Gary Muirhead says Kent Demolition as well. Spot on. I'm surprised that Dave Paget and his daughter haven't been inundated by people looking for free donuts, to be perfectly honest. And there is Footy got the right answer as well. Well done, mate. Who have we got next? Yes. The cooling towers at Fiddler's Ferry Power Station were imploded just recently, like last weekend, I think. Which demolition company did the job? We featured it on the show. They've been across social media. I think they were even on the national media as well. Which demolition company imploded the cooling towers at Fiddler's Ferry? Dan Cullen, quick as a flash. PP O'Connor. It was most definitely PP O'Connor, and what a fine job they did as well. Yeah, really did do a fantastic job. Footy says, I don't know the name, but it was a damn good one, whatever they called. Yeah, Dan Cullen again, PP O'Connor. Yep, absolutely right. Let's have a look. What have we got next? Yeah, I refer to her, it's one of the many things I call her, I've referred to her as Mrs. Demolition News. But what is my wife's actual first name? Yes, the secret affair continues unabated. There you are. Gary Muirhead has come up with Ruth. Jim Turner has come up with Ruth, and Dan Cullen has got Ruth as well. She's out for dinner tonight, so she doesn't care what anybody's saying. You could have called her whatever you damn well like. What is my wife's actual first name? OMG. Yes, it should be. As I say, I'm safe because she's not here. Chris Ford, Ruth as well. Roofie Baby, yeah, she's been Roofie Baby on occasion. And Steve Williamson's got that one right as well. Let's have a look. Gary's just said Ruth says hi. There's no rush to get her back, Gary. She's hardly missed at all. I'll let you know when the yarding starts to back up. Now, which equipment manufacturer sells the Zaxis range? I don't even get to the end of the question. Jim Turner and Dan Cullen and Steve Williamson all got the right answer. Yes, of course, it's Hitachi. Very, very famous, the Zaxis, and there's Gary as well, who, when not messing about with my other half, got the right answer. Next question. Yeah, this is a test. I had to think about this one, I have to say, and it's my show. The Breakfast Show recently passed a landmark number of episodes, just over a month ago, actually. How many episodes had we broadcast? We had a minor celebration to mark. Yes, it was 600 shows. 600. You'd think I'd have got a proper job by now, wouldn't you? But apparently not. Dan Cullen's got it as well. Jim Turner, 600. 600 indeed. Good Lord. All those wasted hours, people. Just think about it. Yes, next question. Which country is home to Rammer Hammers? We famously come from this country. Quite chilly there. Where are Rammer Hammers manufactured? Steve Williamson. Guessed at Italy. Gary Muirhead. Guessed at Italy. Chris Ford knows his breakers. Yes, it is. It is indeed Finland. That's exactly where they're made. In Lahti. In the one thing I can say with a Finnish accent that doesn't make people laugh. Lahti in Finland. Next question. I'm not going to ask you to pronounce it. So, what is the new name for Doosan? There you are. Nice and easy. Steve Williamson. Devellon. It is indeed Devellon. And then everybody else said exactly the same. Jim Turner, Dan Cullen, Chris Ford, Mark Whiting. All correct. All present and correct. Now let's have a look. Yes, we've got just a few more questions from our ever gorgeous AI news anchor, Demi. So, Demi, what have you got for us this time?
Mark took a trip to Germany to celebrate the anniversary of Wacker. But just how old was the company?
Yeah, I did. I went to Germany just, when was that? October time, I think? To celebrate an anniversary. An anniversary of Wacker. It was the Wacker part of Wacker Neuson. They were celebrating a birthday. Yes. Lots of people have taken a guess. Let's have a look. Dan Cullen guessed at, Dan Cullen guessed at 50. Jim Turner guessed at 80. Chris Ford guessed at 100. Footy guessed at 50. Gary Muirhead, however, knows 175 years. Yes. Back in the dawn of time. I just realised. Oh, yeah, it was a Demi one, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm sorry. Getting myself in a bit of a tiz here. So, next question is this. It's about one of our audience members. Which member of the Breakfast Show audience goes by the nickname Hats? Yeah, I preempted that a little bit. I do apologise. Gary Muirhead and Jim Turner both got it. Dan Cullen. Yeah, Dan Cullen. Hats. Dan, Mark Whiting, you're absolutely right. I don't know what it is about these AI pictures of me, but I look really, really pissed off in all of them, don't I? I don't know why. The photographs I sent them were all quite happy, smiling ones, but they've come back making me look like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's have a look. Now, here's a bit of a... We know about Demi Elition, but what was the name of our now retired roving robot reporter? Who can remember that? He was part of the show for about a year, maybe a little bit more, and then we pensioned him off, and he's now so many baked bean cans. What was the name of our now retired roving robot reporter? Mark Whiting. You're absolutely right. It was Reg. It was Reg, and I can't even remember why he ended up being called Reg at all. Gary Muirhead's got it as well. I know we had what was her name? We did have like an interim between Reg and Demi, and I know Demi Elition. I think that was Chris Ford's suggestion. Reg didn't stand for anything. We had one between times. Ada, Artificial Intelligence Digital Avatar. Ada. Yeah, she didn't stick around long. She got fed up with us. Right, next question. Yes, we just talked about me and the Breakfast Show passing a major milestone, but Caterpillar did the same recently as well. Major sales milestone with the D11 dozer. How many have been sold since the machine was launched way back when? And according to Dan Cullen, and I'm willing to take your word for that, the name Demi Elition was actually Jim Turner's invention. And there's Dan Cullen with the right answer. Yeah. 6,000 Cat D11s have gone out into the market. Footy, you're not even close. Have you seen this? I don't even know where you'd put 10 million D11s, to be honest. Chris Ford, no, it's not 250, not 1,000. It was 6,000. 6,000 D11s have been sold since they were launched back in the late 70s, I think. Now, which equipment manufacturer unveiled an electric conversion for its L120 wheel loader? The L120 should probably be a clue, but we also featured the electric conversion right here on this show, exclusively, if I remember rightly. Gary Muirhead has taken a stab with Leap here. Dan Cullen got the right answer with Volvo. Gary then got the right answer. Chris Ford, struggling to spell Volvo, but he got it right. Steve Williamson, no, not JCB, but as Jim Turner has just said, it is Volvo, and Footy has said it's Volvo as well. Yeah, it's definitely Volvo. That was the one. Okay, Dan, you go off and do your thing. We'll come up for air for just a second. Has been quite a long one, hasn't it? Yeah, an hour and a minute. But we are. Let me think. Where are we? 120. Yeah, there's probably about another 15, maybe 20 questions to come. So if you can hold it, do. If not, I'll just keep fudging. Out my comfort zone now. Tell you what, let me put me back on the screen for just a minute so you can see the hat. This is not the hat. This is a hat. The new hat will be getting its live airing on Monday next week. I don't know who I think I am when I can launch a hat. Seems like a bizarre thing to do, but it is Christmas and it is my show, so I can do whatever I damn well please. So yes, the new hat, and it's going to be a semi-permanent hat. I mean, the Breakfast Show hat and the streamer hat will come along as well. Jim Turner is making a brew, so great time for a pause. And Graham Footy Williams says, sorry, I was brushing my hair. It touches my bum. Lucky old your hair is all I can say. Yeah, do you know, I actually made myself a cup of tea before I started the show, slurped it down very, very quickly, and then I'm gasping now. Who was what? Who was the woman at the end of the show who said, now back to? Don't know. Don't know. Chris Ford says, sorry folks, going to go. Darts, wait for no man. Catch you good folks tomorrow. Good luck. Chris, no problem at all. Steve Williamson, eating my steak pie, baby tatties, carrots, and lots of beetroot. Delicious. I love beetroot. Yeah, love beetroot. I don't know if Dan's back, but I think it's probably time for us to get back underway. Yes, we did that one, didn't we? Let's have a look. What's up next? There is a demolition company in the Midlands who have a nickname, the Bridgebusters. It's a name that they most definitely deserve. Fantastic demolition company. Which demolition company is known as the Bridgebusters? We have featured them here number of times. Did a fantastic job down at Wembley, you might remember, that Fred filmed for them. Which Midlands-based demolition company has the nickname, the Bridgebusters. I've actually got a Bridgebusters t-shirt here somewhere. Haven't seen that for ages. Buried in the pile, I would imagine. It is not Clark Demolition. Give you another few seconds to think about it. Footy's already passing. It's not Collards. Nope, they are based up in the Midlands. In fact, off the top of my head, I think they are actually based Solihull-ish. Coventry, Solihull, that part of the country. Gary Muirhead. Not how you spell it, but they are. They are Armac, A-R-M-A-C, Armac Demolition. They are the Bridgebusters. Somebody else we've featured on the show on a number of occasions. Gaz Evans. Do you remember Gaz with his... I don't know what I'm supposed to be in that picture, by the way. Gaz Evans has an attachment model company. They were at Plantworks, they exhibited at Plantworks, and I'm fairly sure that Dan and probably Peter got to meet them, meet Gaz and his other half. What is the name of Gaz Evans' attachment model company? Give you a clue. It's another name for jewellery, or the stones in jewellery. Dan, no, it's not Evans Models. Three, two, don't need to go any further. There is Gary Muirhead and Steve coming up with Gem. Yeah, Gem attachments. Gem, it most certainly is. I'm guessing it is Gaz Evans Models or something like that. But yes, Gem, it most certainly is. Yeah, once or twice this year, we featured a Colombian attachment manufacturer who also dabble in chocolate, Mr. Muirhead. What is the name of... What is the name of that company? Now, I just mentioned the fact that our previous answer, Gaz Evans Model Company, another name for jewellery or the stones. Dan Cullen went with Crystal Models. No. Jim Turner went for Blingy Rocks. Blingy Rocks would be a fantastic name. And there's Gary with the answer to that current question. It is indeed Mazzio Attachments. What have we got next? I reckon this is the toughest of all the questions for tonight. I interviewed, when I was in Czech Republic, I interviewed one of the inventors of the forerunner to the Bobcat skid steer loader. He was on this show, or he was on the Breakfast show. I did a feature-length video with him. I also did a podcast with him. Can anyone remember the name of that guy? Absolutely smashing fella. The trip to Bobcat was fantastic anyway, but meeting this guy was even better still. And no, although that's probably the obvious answer, his name is not Bob. As I say, I know this is a tough one, so I'll only give it another 5 or 6 seconds and then I'll tell you. Footy is already passing. 3, 2, 1. Guy's name was Joe Keller. Yeah, the Keller loader, which was, as I say, it was the forerunner to the Bobcat skid steer. What do we got next? Yeah, this slightly more tragic, this one, but it makes for a good question, I think. Back in August, what's that, 4 or 5 months ago, work was halted on the construction of a football stadium right here in the UK following a fatal accident. But which football team was that stadium being built for? Yeah, back in August, work was halted on a football stadium construction project involving a fatal accident. Whose stadium was it? Gary Muirhead. Quick as a flash. Everton. Dan Cullen, quick as a flash as well. It was indeed. The Toffees, yes, it was Everton. I've only used this question just so that I can say Weasel Face, to be perfectly honest. The proposed demolition of the Marks and Spencer store on London's Oxford Street was kicked into touch by which weasel-faced politician? Which weasel-faced politician decided that Marks and Sparks didn't need a new store on London's Oxford Street? I think I've once described him as having a face that you'd never tire of punching. I stand by that statement. Can you remember his name? He is something like the Communities Secretary or something like that. It's not the stupid Mayor of London. Could be any of them, says Gary Muirhead. I think you're right, but Dan Cullen. It was Michael Gove. Yes. It comes to something when even in the company of Suella Braverman, Michael Gove stands out as an absolute a-hole. We're getting very close to the end now, people. Let's have a look. I think it may be Demi time again. This may be our last question. I think it probably is. here we go. This one's kind of about me, I think.
What football team does Mark support?
That was very quick, so I'm going to play
What
it.
football team does Mark support?
Yes, I make no secret of the fact that I support a certain London football team. Who is it? Who is that football team? Dan Cullen. Well done. Gary Muirhead. Well done as well. Jim Turner. Yeah, absolutely. Steve Williamson. Who? Who? Never heard of them. They must play in a really strange league, I would imagine. Who? Footy, clearly not a football fan. Who kicks about a bag of wind? Yes, well, sometimes West Ham do that. That's on a good day, actually. Right, I think we're probably in the home straight. We are. Here we go. Towards the end of the show, just before we do the crack every morning, I say we're going to have a final word from our key show sponsor. Who dat? Who is the Breakfast Show's key show sponsor? Have been almost since it began. Who is our key show sponsor? Yes. Gary Muirhead, you're absolutely on the money. MB Crusher. Steve Williams says MB as well. And Jim Turner says MB. Footy says MB. Jim Turner says MB. Steve Williamson adds Crusher. Yes, it most certainly is MB Crusher. What have we got next? Yes. Been one of the big headlines of this year, actually, for all the wrong reasons. Crumbly Concrete made the headlines this year. It's known by an acronym. What is that acronym? What is the name of that Crumbly Concrete? Yeah, it is RAAC. 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 It is, or RAAC, or RAC. It is most certainly that. Like an aero. Like they've made schools from meringue, which is always a good idea. Let's have a look. What have we got next? I think we're almost at the very end, actually. Yes, excavators from a specific nation are facing the threat of anti-dumping duties right now as we speak. Which nation is under scrutiny for supposedly, allegedly, selling its equipment here in the UK below market price to try to get themselves some market share? Dan Cullen, bang on. Chinese. Jim Turner, bang on. China. Gary Muirhead, China it is. Let's have a look. Which company makes the Vision Link? Again, we've featured it on the Breakfast Show. Very, very famous construction equipment manufacturer. I look like a slightly spooky Indiana Jones in that picture, don't I? I don't know what that's about either, but yeah. Who is it that makes the Vision Link? Dan Cullen has taken a stab at Case. Nope. Kind of close, but not really. Footy says JCB. No, not JCB. Gary came to our rescue with Cat. It is most certainly Caterpillar. And no, it's not the leap here. I think we've got probably 2 questions left. So here is the penultimate question. Which US manufacturer makes the Pier T range of excavators? Pier T. Again, another very famous brand. Dan Cullen. Well done. It is absolutely 100% John Deere. Steve Williamson says John Deere as well. Gary Muirhead says John Deere as well. Footy says it's the one with the stag on the front of its emblem. Yes, I think they do have a stag on the front of their emblem. So we come down to the divider because let's just assume that you've all got the right answers the right number of times. This is the tiebreaker that we're about to play you. Are you ready? Are you steady? Because here's the last question. At the end of every Breakfast show, I always say that I'm going to leap over into the chat like an animal. What animal do I leap like? In real life, I don't leap like anything. I can barely get my feet off the ground. Steve Williamson, thank you. Somebody has been paying attention. It is a gazelle. I do leap gazelle-like over into the chat. Well done indeed. Jim Turner says gazelle. Dan Cullen says gazelle. Footy says gazelle as well. Yeah, listen. Still, to this day, not entirely sure where it came from, but that is the correct answer. Although, I've got to say, Jim Turner, that would be far more appropriate. That's kind of what I really move like. That's it. That is it. The first ever Dig Fact Quiz of the Year is done and dusted. Did we declare a winner? I don't think we did. Fastest finger first, probably Steve Williamson, but there are no prizes. Steve, if you'd like to boast about that among your friends, I don't think anyone would argue with it. But thank you very much indeed for being here. I'm going to be back again tomorrow. We're running out of shows. There are no more evening shows. There are no more Saturday shows this side of the new year. So it is just down to the Breakfast show. So where are we tomorrow? So we've got Thursday and Friday. So we've got 2 more of the morning shows. And then we've got 5 more next week. So 7 more shows. And that's us done. That's us done. Fair play, Mark. Job well done. Thank you very much indeed, Jim. Never saw myself as a quiz master. We probably should have got Gary to host this one. Because, he is the question master. Great job and great questions. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, just a very quick one. Mickey's doing his best answering the questions about this business with the cards. I actually had a message earlier from Mick Norton, who is going to use, we've got this system called SpeakPipe, which I've mentioned in the past, and he is going to leave me an audio message, which apparently I can hopefully play on the show tomorrow. So that's, tune in tomorrow and I'll tell you exactly what's going on. Jim Turner says, thanks for your time. More thanks for your time, Jim. It is your birthday, so go and celebrate. Go eat, drink and be merry. Well done, says Dan Cullen. Will you be shut down for the 2 weeks? It'll be a bit longer than that, actually. I'm going to finish on the 22nd of December, and we're not back officially until the 8th of January. The 8th of January. We're going to take a bit of time, basically, to recharge the batteries, but it's also an opportunity for me to kind of rearrange a few things. Not so much for the show, but trying to get this office a bit more organised, trying to get our scheduling a bit more organised so we can fit a bit more in. Gary Muirhead says, fantastic show as always, Mark. Thank you very much indeed for that. Gary Muirhead says, have to go now, pay the bill, Ruth has to go. Yeah, well, thankfully, no, in actual fact, all joking aside, she's actually out with her sister at the moment, which is fantastic. I didn't take her there. She went by Uber. I'm picking her up later, but I'm going to sit outside. There's no way I'm sticking my head around the door because she will definitely hand me the bill if I do. Have a great evening, guys. Yes, you too. See you tomorrow. Dan Cullen. Everybody, go and have a fantastic evening. Thanks ever so much for your company. Thanks. I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised. I know some of the questions, like the Joe Keller one, were going to be difficult. It made a lasting impression on me. No good reason it should have made a lasting impression on you. I do think the NFTC probably need to do a bit more with their PR, given the fact that you don't know who their people are. So that's a whole other story for another time. But everything else, I think you were absolutely on the money. And yeah, so I'm going to leap hippo-like off for my dinner. Everybody have a fantastic evening. Thanks again for being here. We'll do this again sometime. Maybe middle of next year. I'll see what the schedule looks like. Till then, I'll see you all soon. Bye.